Cleveland, Ohio. March 2, 2026. It was around 7:30 in the morning. Near East 116th Street, a dog walker had stepped out for his routine, just like he did every single day. It was a normal morning. There was a bit of fog in the air, a slight chill too. Nothing unusual. Nothing that could suggest that this day would bring something into his life that he would never be able to forget. Because that's when his eyes landed near Cernak Playground, on a dirt mound. The soil looked freshly disturbed. And right in the middle of it, a black suitcase sticking out. At first he probably thought someone had just left it there, maybe forgotten it. But when he walked closer and opened it, what he saw inside shook him completely. Because inside was a 10-year-old girl. And just 25 feet away, partially buried in the ground, there was another bag. Inside it was another girl. She was 8 years old. And these two girls were sisters. And the people they should have trusted the most were the ones behind this crime. So today's case, we're going to understand what really happened with Amor Wilson and Mila Chapman. So I have to tread carefully. But let's start. Cleveland, Ohio. A city known by millions for its sports culture and its hard-working people. On the east side of Cleveland, there's a neighborhood called Collinwood. The people here aren't very wealthy. But even then, there's pride here. A strong sense of community. Kids play outside. People know each other. And Cernak Playground is one of those places where childhood lives. There are swings. Kids eat pizza. Laugh together. For the people here, this place was a symbol of peace, of innocence. But on March 2, 2026, something was found near this playground that shook the entire neighborhood. And what was found wasn't just a crime. It was the ultimate betrayal by a mother against her own children. Today I want to tell you about Amor Wilson and Mila Chapman. Two little girls, two sisters, two innocent lives that had only just begun. Amor Wilson was 10 years old. She was born in April 2015. Just listen to her name. Literally means love. And from whatever little information we have about her, she really was just that. Loving. Amor had asthma. She always carried an inhaler with her. Now this might seem like a small detail, but to me it hits the hardest. Because it means, at some point, someone was taking care of her. Someone made sure she had what she needed. Amor was homeschooled. So there are no real school records. No public information about her personality, her behavior. Almost everything we know comes from her mother. And that itself is a tragedy. Because we don't even know what this child was truly like. A 10-year-old, and the world barely knows anything about her. Now let's talk about Mila Chapman. She was 8 years old. Born in July 2017. Both Amor and Mila had the same mother, Aaliyah Henderson. But their fathers were different. You could say they were stepsisters. But they never lived like that. They were just sisters. Now Amor's father's identity was never made public. But Mila's father was Deshaun Chapman. And Deshaun, it was a father who did everything he could for his daughter. For 5 years, he fought in court for Mila's custody. 5 years of lawyers, hearings, waiting, hoping that maybe this time, things would go in his favor. In December 2025, during Christmas, he met Mila. Hugged her. Gave her gifts. They spent time together. Happily. That was the last time he saw her. When Mila's body was found in March, Deshaun stood at a memorial in Collinwood. And the man who had fought for his daughter for 5 years said just one thing. I couldn't save my baby. I can't even imagine what he must have been going through. But one thing is certain, he was completely broken. Now let's talk about Aaliyah Henderson, the mother of Amor and Mila. She was 28 years old. She lived in Collinwood, just 1.2 miles away from the crime scene. It's true, she was a single mother. That comes with pressure. A lot of it. She used to work at Walmart in 2025, but she was fired that same year. The exact reason isn't clear, but some reports suggest it was due to behavioral issues. Neighbors described her as someone who mostly kept to herself. Didn't talk much. Didn't really interact with people. But what stood out the most was this. After she lost her job in 2025, Amor and Mila were barely seen outside. Earlier, at least sometimes, they would come out. But now, they had almost completely disappeared from public view. And here's something important. There had already been concerns about Aaliyah's home. The government agency CPS Child Protective Services, had visited her house before. Once in 2019. And again in 2022. Which means, someone had reported concerns. Twice. People felt something wasn't right. Times. CPS investigated. And both times, they left saying there wasn't enough evidence. Then in 2026, Aaliyah's social media also went completely silent. It was almost like Aaliyah, Amor and Mila were slowly disappearing from the world. March 2, 2026. 7:30 a.m. The dog walker stopped near Cernak Playground. That dirt mound, the black suitcase, something felt off. The suitcase was half buried. He moved it slightly. There was soil underneath. And then he opened it. Inside was Amor Wilson. He walked about 25 feet further and saw another partially buried bag. Blue in color. It was Mila. I just found her in a suitcase in the park. Forensic evidence later revealed the girls had been there for 1 to 2 weeks. Which means this likely happened towards the end of February. Hidden in the ground, right next to a playground. The same place where kids come to play. I don't know how you feel hearing this, but when I first heard it, I literally paused. My mind just stopped processing. Because reports also said these girls used to play in that same playground. That detail is horrifying. The Cleveland Police Department arrived immediately. Chief Dorothy Todd took charge. Door-to-door questioning began. First 200, then over 350 residents were interviewed. Footage from 28 surveillance cameras was collected. DNA samples were taken from the surrounding areas. Everything was being done to build this case. And as evidence started coming in, everything pointed in one direction. Their own mother, Aaliyah. On March 4th, Aaliyah was called in for a voluntary interview. She was questioned for 4 hours. At one point she even requested a lawyer. Investigators later stated she was not cooperative. At 6:45 p.m., her arrest warrant was issued. And by 8:15 p.m., she was in jail. On March 5, DNA reports confirmed it officially. Both Amor and Mila were Aaliyah's biological daughters. A search of her home led to the seizure of 3 phones, a laptop and clothing. There was also CCTV footage from February 25 showing Aaliyah walking alone. But no camera captured her carrying or disposing of the suitcases. And that is a major gap in this case. A gap that could make things complicated. On March 6, Aaliyah pleaded not guilty. Her bond was set at $2 million. She couldn't pay it. On March 19, the grand jury filed 24 charges against her, including murder and tampering with evidence. But among those charges, there were 2 details that honestly shocked me. The court acknowledged that even after the girls had died, something was done to them. Not just murder. Something else happened after. And just thinking about that is terrifying. On March 12, Deshaun held a memorial. Balloons. Candles. For both girls. On March 25, in court he said just one thing. Keep her behind the bars. Amor's father, whose identity remains unknown, called Aaliyah a heartless monster. And honestly, it's hard to disagree. The truth is, this case is still ongoing. The next hearing is scheduled for April 15, 2026. Toxicology reports are still pending. The exact cause of death hasn't been confirmed yet. Even the motive is still unclear. But the evidence still points in one direction. There's one thing that personally disturbs me the most. Both Amor and Mila were homeschooled. They didn't go to school. They didn't have many friends. There was no regular outside contact. No teachers, no social circle. No one consistently watching over them. CPS was called twice. That's alarming. What did people see that made them report it? And the biggest question is, did the system fail these children? Amor means love. Mila represents peace. That's what they deserved. But what happened to them is something no one will ever forget. And with that, with a very heavy heart, this video ends here. I know cases like this don't always get much attention from Indian audiences, but still, I hope you guys are doing well. Stay close to your loved ones. I'll see you very, very soon. If this story shocked you, don't forget to like the video. Share this with someone who follows true crime. And subscribe to the channel, because stories like this You won't hear anywhere else. Stay safe and stay aware.